Now look at the armed forces in this country. In every city, they have changed the roadways around major cities, made them more concrete, more strong, because there are tanks, there are anti-personnel carriers in these armories. The people are being trained for house-to-house combat, not just for Iraq, but for the inner cities of America. I have learned that Blackwater, that group of mercenaries, is now training police in New York, in Chicago, in Atlanta, in San Francisco, in Los Angeles, in Houston. Yes, the police are no longer being given just the Glock 9s. They're being given the Army rifles with armor-piercing bullets.
Is Blackwater being financed by U.S. money?
I believe so. I don't know who they're financed by. But whenever you have a toxic waste and you have a country drifting toward anarchy and you have a rising anti-black sentiment in the country that is seen in every major city, police action against black youth and black people in a negative sense has increased. So because Barack is in the White House, many white people are so upset over a black man being in the White House, they may not be able to get to him, but it's being taken out on people in communities all across this country. So instead of it being a post-racial America, which it seemed to be with the whites that voted for our brother, but as this is turning now, and the anger is kindled in white America, this thing is going to get very, very ugly if the dollar falls and the economy collapses. Only God knows what will happen. But at the end of the dark night, there will be a brighter day for those who survive. This is what the Bible predicted, the Holy Quran predicted. It's the fall of the greatest country in the history of the world. And our hope was that President Barack Obama could help save America from this fall. And when he went overseas in an apologetic kind of way for some of the errant policies of the government, the Republicans took up the cry, we don't need a president to apologize. We need a president that stands up for America. He's standing up for the best of you, but not for the worst of the policies of this government. Yes, there is a solution, dear brother. And if you look at us, we are not perfect. But the teachings of Elijah Muhammad snatches that black brother, pulls him up out of drugs and alcohol and adultery, and makes him want to go home and be a father, to have successful home life. We're not perfect, but we have an antidote for the toxicity of black people. Elijah Muhammad showed us a way to do something for self. We're not perfect, but if our people would unite on a program like that, we could lift our people in the same kind of climate. But it's going to take the unity of all of us thinking about the best method to raise our people up, and stop being envious. If we can clean our people up, and Bill Cosby goes around the country saying, look at the Muslims. Well, don't be jealous because it's a different faith. Elijah Muhammad had something. And I come back to my mentor, Malcolm X. Malcolm X graduated from the 8th grade. He never went to high school. He never went to college. He was from prison and became one of the greatest minds on our planet. That tells you that the people that are locked down in prison, they're not dummies. They are people that if help comes to them, they can be made useful members of society. Brother Malcolm is the example. Nobody defeated him in argument. You and I were there, Gil, when he went to Harvard and debated law school graduates. They couldn't handle Malcolm. Nobody could handle him because he was thinking outside the box prepared for us by an educational system rooted in white supremacy. We have a chance to make ourselves better, and we need to look at successful examples and see what are we doing. I close on this with this, Gil.
Let me interrupt you.
Yes.
With all due respect. What do you say to those who say that there were no white people in the Audubon Ballroom when Malcolm was struck down?
I say that's the absolute truth. There are no white people in the hood, brother killing brother. It is this ignorance, this envy, this insanity that is in us that we have to be cleansed from. And if we do not allow ourselves to be purified from self-hatred and from the envy and the jealousy that makes us war with each other, if we are not purified from that, there will never be a wholesome black community that we can take pride in. And that is what happened in the Audubon Ballroom. It was people that hated, not loved. It was people that hated Brother Malcolm. It was people that maybe were envious of Brother Malcolm. And even though he went against his teacher, nobody had a right to take that man's life. Every man has a right to live, to see either the error of his ways or the wisdom of the choices that he made. W.E.B. Du Bois argued against Marcus Garvey. He argued against Booker T. People wanted to kill W.E.B. Du Bois, but thanks be to God, he lived. And because he lived, a giant emerged. And Marcus Garvey died in England. And W.E.B. Du Bois died in the Africa that Marcus Garvey was beckoning him to.